Selamat siang, saudara sebangsa dan setanah air. Kita ada di jalur rempah Indonesia Spice Up Your Fashion menuju warisan budaya UNESCO. Sebuah kolaborasi bareng Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Direktorat Jenderal Kebudayaan dengan Perum PFN. Terima kasih ingin kami sampaikan kepada Indonesian Fashion Chamber, Eco Fashion Indonesia, APPMI, Institut Kesenian Jakarta, LaSalle College, dan Komisi Ekonomi Kreatif Banjarmasin. Pada siang hari ini kita memiliki sejumlah acara yang cukup seru, mulai dari masterclass dan juga diskusi serta fashion show. Namun untuk memulai acara pada hari ini kita akan dengarkan terlebih dahulu sambutan dari Menteri Koperasi dan UMKM Bapak Teten Mas Duki. Selamat siang Pak, persilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Dalam kesempatan berbahagia ini, saya mengucapkan selamat kepada Perum Produksi Film Negara dan Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan atas gelaran Spice Up Your Fashion. Saya mengapresiasi setinggi-tingginya kegiatan ini yang telah menghadirkan banyak pembicara nasional dan internasional sehingga memberikan angin segar bagi UMKM yang bergerak di perdagangan rempah dan industri fashion. In this occasion, I would also like to thank Patty DeSante from Canada, Sylvia Calvo from Barcelona, and Swanina Bhatnagar from India, who are willing to share with Indonesian audience. Enjoy the program. Bapak dan Ibu yang saya hormati, tidak bisa dipungkiri kolaborasi merupakan nilai penting dalam kondisi sulit seperti ini. Kekayaan alam Indonesia dengan limpahan rempahnya, kekayaan budaya salah satunya wastra, dan potensi ekonomi kreatif khususnya dalam subsektor fashion menjadikan ramuan sinergi yang sangat kaya atas inspirasi unik dalam karya dan istimewa dalam pesona bila diracik dengan kolaborasi yang tepat dengan semangat kebersamaan. Saya secara pribadi sangat antusias akan kolaborasi antara rempah dan fashion yang diinisiasi dalam kegiatan ini. Saya percaya sinergi dari dua kekuatan ini dibalut dengan desain yang mumpuni oleh desainer kita akan mampu memunculkan produk dengan kualitas dunia beserta narasi kuat tentang kejayaan rempah dan mode Indonesia. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, saya mengajak kita semua yang hadir dapat memanfaatkan kesempatan ini untuk bersama-sama berkolaborasi dalam mendukung UMKM, memetakan peluang bersama untuk dapat hadir sebagai local heroes perekonomian Indonesia, serta bisa kompetitif di level global. Saya Menteri Koperasi dan UKM, Teten Mas Duki, mengucapkan selamat dan sukses untuk gelaran Spice Up Your Fashion. Saya tidak sabar menantikan mahakarya nyata yang dihasilkan. Terima kasih, UMKM Bangkit, Indonesia Maju. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi Santi Om.
Salam sehat. Jalur Rempah Indonesia yang semakin hari semakin berkembang menuju salah satu warisan budaya yang sangat menarik. Perum PFN bersama Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan hadir dalam berbagai diskusi menarik, termasuk pembicara dari dalam dan luar negeri.
Salah satunya adalah peneliti dan pemberdaya perempuan-perempuan di Afrika,
Wow,
tepatnya di Malawi. Warga negara Kanada ini sangat berdedikasi dalam pengembangan fashion di Afrika. Telah hadir desainer eco fashion dari Kanada, Patty Disanti, yang ikut meramaikan diskusi jalur rempah Spice Up Your Fashion. Moderator kita Mira Surario.
Hi everyone, I'm Mira Surario, Senior Vice President of HUE in Indonesia, and I will be your host today. Hope everyone is safe at home by now. So today we are going to talk about the Spice Up Your Fashion, and the topic for today is the social impact from the spice route to women on global fashion industry. State-owned public company of State Film Production, Perum PFN, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Directorate of Cultural Utilization in the Indonesian Spice Route, is trying to develop the use of spices in the aspects of fashion industry, could be the impact in the community, the culture, archive, or even through in motif and color itself. Here we are, Spice Up the Fashion 2020. Our discussion will be more interesting with our two speakers today, but moreover, we will have many speakers from around the globe who will share their perspective about the same topic. Our two speakers today are Taruna F. Kusmayadi and Patty Disanti. So let me start with introducing Taruna F. Kusmayadi, which is the Board of Advisor Indonesia Fashion Chambers. Taruna F. Kusmayadi is a fashion designer and advisory board for the Indonesian Fashion Chamber. Taruna F. Kusmayadi, or often called Nuna, started his fashion journey by majoring in fashion merchandising at California State University of Fresno, United States. His interest in the world of fashion and continued to major in fashion designs at the Institute of Technology, New York, United States. Nuna is also a person who loves beauty and also a fan of batik and unique traditional fabrics. This is what led to his interest in fashion. Hi, Mas Nuna, how are you?
Hi, Bu Mira, how are you? Good, thank you.
And then our speakers, the second speaker today is Patty Disanti. Patty is the women rights activist and also system change engineer. How are you, Patty?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. I'm very humbled. Thank you.
Glad to have both of you today. So, Patty, maybe you want to talk about a little about your background and how, you know, all the way until you are here now with us.
Okay, thank you. I got involved in fashion about 10 years ago. My background is a natural gas broker. I was always looking for maximum points of leverage to affect change, and fashion is one of them. And I became involved in Sub-Saharan in Uganda, Kenya, and Malawi. And I've lived in Malawi now for 5 years, and also was very involved in Vancouver Fashion Week. And most importantly, I'm interested in how the tool of fashion can help resource and connect powerful women.
Okay, so you are saying before, now you are in Canada, right?
I'm in Canada right
Vancouver.
now. Normally I would be in Malawi, but
Okay.
when the pandemic hit, I was already in Canada. So I stayed in Canada, and along with my Malawian friend, she had come in January. And so we've been doing different work here for the last year.
Oh, okay. So,
Mhm.
so what is the situation now in terms of the pandemic, both in Africa and in Vancouver?
So in Malawi, luckily Africa really, for the most part, didn't get hit too bad with COVID. So Malawi basically has 0 cases now, but the impact is more on tourism. There's no tourists going, they rely on tourists, and then NGOs coming in, all that money's dried up. So for one of the poorest countries in the world, it has a severe impact, but more on economics than it did on the actual virus itself. In Canada, we're going up in numbers. They're really increasing right now. I'm at home, and just about everyone is being advised to stay home. But it's time to reflect.
Yes, it's a new normal. But listen to what you're saying about Malawi. It's very ironic because actually they don't have the virus anymore, but they are one of the country that or the area that highly hit economically by the situation globally. Yeah, that's very ironic.
Just as we were very concerned when I was very concerned when COVID hit, because they do not have the healthcare to support it. So the first thing I did, because I have so many textiles, I made about 400 masks. I learned how to sew, and then we sold them all and sent all the money to Malawi in case they did have to lock down. So we sourced a lot of the communities there, particularly women with a lot of kids, with the sale of the masks. But I learned how to sew.
That's good. Maybe you can help Mas Nuna as well with his community development in Indonesia.
I was very blessed to be there. When was it? In 2018 at Eco Fashion Week. I was very happy to be there and invited to show some of the Malawian designer looks at the first Eco Fashion Week in Jakarta. So I was blessed to meet Rita and Merdi and so many others. So I think one of the first things I want to do is go back and learn and visit the women weavers en route to Malawi.
Yeah. Maybe the next thing after this, this, because I was in the one of the founder of Eco Fashion Week Indonesia. Yeah. So, but the first one I wasn't, because at the other side I'm working with a few. So I'm doing community development and on films also for a few. So at that time, I remember I wasn't in the event at all. So yeah, so I miss you. I miss to meet you by then. Yeah. So maybe after this pandemic, things, then maybe we can do something between Indonesia and Malawi. Do some exchange or something, collaboration or something.
I think it's I think all of what we're seeing right now is really looking at COVID has shown us how we're woven together. So then how does that weaving, first of all, expand our well-being? How does that interweaving and connection go beyond differences so we all really rise up and bring benefit to everyone? I mean, that's what I am. I'm an ordained Zen Buddhist chaplain. My entire ground from which I move from is alleviating suffering. That's it.
Wow. That's amazing. We will talk about it more. But before that, we saw in your CV that you are, made extreme change in your life from the from the oil and gas industry, which were in a top level position, we believe, and then drastically you changed into the grassroots movement in Africa in fashion industry. How has that happened? What is the tipping point?
I think I always love whatever it is I do. So when something changes in my life and I can feel that I'm not aligned with my deepest intention, then I reevaluate. And so I did move from a very prestigious place in the energy industry as a broker. I did start my own brokerage company. I started a school. I worked with the Dalai Lama and developing in Vancouver. And then I ended up I became an ordained Zen Buddhist chaplain working in complexity science. So I worked with world leaders. And at that time, I ended up working with street kids and I got involved in their hip hop and fashion. And then I ended up working with diaspora. So I always look and go, I have no idea what I should be doing internationally. Of course, more people should humble themselves. So I made the decision to work with diaspora. So people who were from Africa, but living in Canada. And I worked with youth movements who were involved in fashion, hip hop, all of the things. But most importantly, they were rapping in their own language. They were honoring their own fashion designers. So not coming towards the post-colonized Canada and US vision, but totally moving the strength within their own culture. So that's how do I change? I love learning. I'm always in a very high learning curve. And so that's how I got involved with Uganda. I brought a fashion designer to Vancouver Fashion Week. I chose him specifically because he was a community leader working with bark cloth and many of the traditional elements of Ugandan fashion. We brought him here. We promoted him, huge at universities. He went back. He now works for the US Embassy and developed a large community of 30, at least, designers who are honoring African fashion. It's very key to me. And then I'm hands off. I get out of the way. It's really important for Westerners to get out of the way a lot.
Yeah. So then you start with developing them, and then once you see them can stand on their own feet, then you let them do it.
My job, I'm a broker. I connect and resource. I connect them to powerful people or the resources that they need to showcase what they already have, their already existing brilliance. And then they go ahead. I don't make money from them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very noble.
Resources.
That's very noble.
Oh,
that's very noble.
It's not. It's just, it's just my life.
So when I listen to you, previously in oil and gas, you are a broker also, right? And then here, so I can find the silver line. So basically, you maintain your expertise in the brokerage, right? But then you apply it in, for different counts. Is that it?
I think what I learned as a broker, I looked for maximum points of leverage so everyone could win. The producers, the marketers, the pipelines, everyone. Because often those places are at odds with each other. The producers want the highest amount of money for their gas. The markets want the lowest. So I learned how to move things around so everybody wins. No losers. I mean, that's the best of the world. I don't know if it always works.
It is. Wow, very interesting. So do you find any challenge beside the point that it's actually, the same theory of brokerage, right? Where everybody wins, right? So is there any other, because your background is really interesting. So is there any challenges that you found when you first, shifting to this new world? Or
so as a broker, it's not always that game, it's win-lose. So I'm very different. I look at maximum points so when I was a broker and had my own business, I didn't realize what I was doing was sustainability. I just had all the pieces. I love working with complexity. And the more you work and embrace difference and different pieces of the puzzle fits together more. So I will say that that was a personal thing. And I think the most important thing, the reason why I was successful in my own brokerage business, because it was a very humbling experience from going from a big company to I'm working out of my house. And it was very, by women, they thought I had betrayed them, and men would tell me what a nice hobby it is. But then they saw I was making twice as much money, working maybe 2 hours a day and able to spend all the time with my children. So what I want to say is the women's movement is not about becoming a scientist, a mathematician, or any of those things. The women's movement is about being free to choose. And I chose to have motherhood as a big part of my life. And the only way to do that was to create my own business, create my own hours. But the reason I'm successful, which often you do not find in the brokerage business, is I have integrity. My word is my bond. I shake my hand, and that's the end of it. This is what I will do, even if the prices go up. So that's a bit of me, and that's how I move wherever I go. If I tell you I'm going to do something or honor you or whatever, I will stand, and I have stood in Malawi, which is where I live half the year now. I have had every imaginable horrific thing happen to me. I have been arrested by 8 police officers. I'd have everything stolen, assaulted, but I will not leave these women, you know, so, and that's getting back to fashion. Whatever our vocation is, we are meant to practice this level of integrity, this level of patience, discipline, enthusiasm, focus. So what my interest often is in fashion and working with fashion designers and writing about fashion designers are those people who practice excellence in fashion, and then it translates to all of their relationships. That's the end of the story for me.
Wow, that's a beautiful story you have there. So yeah, so I think you really should come to Indonesia and let's do something together. So
I'm always learning.
Before we move forward with more interesting story from Patty, I want to say hi to Mas Nuna. Mas Nuna? How are you?
Mbak Mira, fine, thank you. Thank you. Yes?
All well, Mas Nuna? Keeping well?
Yeah, so far. Thank you. Surviving. Yeah, being home, it's nice. You gotta enjoy the greeneries, you know. You gotta enjoy your home, which is, you know, you don't always have the time to enjoy your home. Yeah. How about you?
So I'm good. 10 months already being at home. I used to, you know, actually before this pandemic, I used to travel a lot across Indonesia and globally also, but more across Indonesia for doing the community development for films. But then the last time, I think it was March, I was in Palu in South Sulawesi of Indonesia, and then I got called to come home to Jakarta from my company because I work with a global company. So it's the global policy that, you know, every employee must stay at home. So it's 10 months already. But I found it to be, you know, I can do a lot more things because, you know, in Indonesia, it's traffic everywhere, right? So now that we are being at home, we can do a lot more things, and you know, our time become more effectively used.
Becoming productive.
Yes, very productive, right? And then, as you said, enjoying home, right? Enjoying home, enjoying the kids, enjoying my pets. And then, so being creative also around the house, renovate here and there, which, you know, the points that we were never looking at before. And now that we are looking at it every day, like, oh, this thing needs to be, you know, fixed, this thing needs to be renovated, this thing can be this, become this, things
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, so Mas Nuna, I heard the hesitant
Yes.
voice when I asked you, how are you, right? What is that hesitant? Is that the challenge that you found during this pandemic that is really impacting your business personally, or as you know, as one of the leader in fashion industry in Indonesia, you found it, you know, very impactful to the fashion industry in Indonesia, especially the artisans?
Well, I
How
would
is it,
think
Mas?
so. You know, this is not only micro, small, medium skills enterprise, but it also affects the everybody's. It affects globally, and in case of me and my other friends, we only have small companies, and we survive. And in my case, I only accepting private clients. But for bigger brands, you know, they start producing the rayon type of outfits. You know, when they can wear something lounging wear, something that very comfortable and homey type of fashion. It's not necessarily cheap, but it's comfortable, and it's everybody has to have it. You know, that's how we, our friends, you know, survive by doing online shopping, online selling, and buying through online, and that's how it is. And what else can you do? You know, even the big industries, you know, they have problems in so-called raw materials that they have to import from China.
Right.
And that's also another case. And not only the small one, but also the big ones affected by it. I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, Mbak Mira.
So then, but it's very good to hear that you managed to find a creative way to survive in terms of your business during this pandemic, right? Which I believe whatever being done by the top level, here we are talking about the fashion industry, whatever being you know, done creatively by the top level in the industry will give the trickle down impact to the, you know, to the workers, to the lower community, which really, you know, really doing all the, really working on the raw materials itself, right? So in your data,
Yeah.
how many artisans are working in the grassroots now with the Indonesian designers that got impacted because of this pandemic?
I think first of all, I think we all should know that we have thousands of units of business of these small scale artisans in textile, right? And they doing it not as full-time job, you know, they're doing it part-time job, you know, as a housewife, and at the same time they have to taking care of the kids, and they have to prepare, you know, meals for the husband and all that, these things, right? So they don't take these weaving textiles or painting batiks, you know, as a steady income type of source, right? So in this case, we have thousands of them, but we never reach the optimal level of productions because of that. And then secondly, only few that, you know, can work together with the fashion designers. Some of them, sorry to say, some of them, they have sort of what you call the mindset problems, you know. When you produce clothes, and then your money comes just like that, so why should you improve your products, right? So fashion designers, sometimes they have a lot of demands to fixing the colors, to fixing the fibers and all that. So if I would say out of 1,000 of artisans, textile craftsmen, I think we have about 20 units working with some Indonesian designers. Yeah, some of them developing the yarns, the fibers, or some of them developing the pattern, the motifs, the prints.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
but
that's what you asked me, right? Yeah.
Right. So now with this condition, of course, the demand in the in the fashion is also decreasing, right? So what happened to them?
Well, I think we have a lot of philanthropists. We have collectors. We have exhibitions, though they're doing it online, and some craftsmen they're selling it online also, and the pricing can be very competitive also, and they find their ways to sell their products, and they even believe it or not, even some of the craftsmen, we have to put our name on waiting list before we got their products. Even yes.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it means
we're talking about nice clothes, yeah.
Right.
We're talking about
So
nice ones, yeah. But the chippy ones, the mass production ones is everywhere. Yeah.
okay. So
And
you
they'll
are
find their own
talking.
buyers.
Okay. So you are saying here that, in other words, that actually the artisans especially in the fashion industry in Indonesia is not really impacted with the pandemic situation because of the demand for the high fashion is stable.
Well, I would not say so. Some of the craftsmen they just stay sit, and then some
Okay.
of them they're really aggressive and doing promotion and then selling through online. Yeah, so it's depend on the mentality of the craftsmen as well, and then the needs of them. Some of them probably they don't need as urgent as others to sell their products.
Right.
Like that.
So is there?
It's a choice, yeah. Yes, but Mira.
So yeah, so it's back to the nature of the of the mentality of the community itself, right? So but I think it's
Exactly.
the main thing that but I think it's the main thing that we in Indonesia are trying to do through any community development, whether it is in fashion, in films, or in craft, or in many things of the the subsectors of the economy creative in Indonesia. That's what we are trying to do, right? We are trying to change the
Right.
mentality of the the local communities across Indonesia. So in terms of that, trying to change the mindset, the mentality of all the the craftsmen across Indonesia during
Yeah.
this pandemic. Is there any specific strategy that IFC is doing in order to create a maybe COVID relief strategy or COVID relief initiative, especially for the lower income people across Indonesia that working with the fashion industry?
Yeah. I think the craftsmen are actually the designers, right?
Right.
But the thing is, our society also, get a wrong idea about the craftsman. Craftsman is a craftsman. Craftsman is not textile designer. You see, so whatever they produce, usually they produce whatever they have done, produce the same old things, for ages.
Right.
you know.
Right.
So fashion designer is not a textile designers. So
Right.
they probably can tell you, you know, this color should be better that way, you know, the prints should be, the motifs should be, you know, bigger or smaller. That, but the structure of the fabric.
Baik, teman-teman sekalian yang sudah hadir di acara kita Jalur Rempah Indonesia Spice Up Your Fashion. Tadi kita sudah dengarkan satu diskusi yang sangat menarik dipandu oleh rekan saya Mira Surario bersama Patty dan Mas Nuna. Mas Nuna, how are you today?
Good, thank you, Mbak Cici.
Thank you.
It's been a long time no see,
It's been a long time, yeah, quite a while. After this, we talk later, yeah. And
Sure.
I would like also to say hi to Patty. Hi, Patty. Can you hear me?
Patty's there?
I don't know. Patty, where are you?
Sure.
Hi, Patty.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to contribute.
Yes, the pleasure is ours actually. Yeah, I can see you now.
It's
Hi.
quite late here.
What time is it now in Vancouver?
Hi. It's almost 11, but it's okay. I'm working on a music video shoot, so I've been styling and I'm up late.
Wow. All right. We will give the chance for the audience to ask questions to you and Mas Nuna. But before that, I probably want to, I personally have a questions for you after listening to the discussion you had earlier with Myra. Talking about your work in Malawi and other part of Africa recently, and since our event today is about spices and how spices contribute to fashion and also how spices is actually contribute to the well-being of the fashion designer or artisan back in Africa. How do you see that, and what kind of product is actually produced by your community development or other activities that you have in Africa?
So when Rita and I spoke, we spoke specifically about sort of my involvement. I said I could speak specifically about my involvement in Africa as an activist utilizing fashion and music. In terms of spices, it's more of they're not using spices in Malawi and so forth. Of course, they use natural dyes and so forth up north, but I would say I'm more of an involvement in, like, when I think of the spice trade, I think of it very much as a voyager. And so when I look at practice, I look at practice fashion as fashion is practice. So for me, as we sort of sit here and talk about eco fashion and all the different things, I think we spoke about it on the other interview. We have to really, like, in terms of when I journey as a Buddhist chaplain, I'm the first mind I look at is the mind of openness, right? Everywhere I go, I look at openness instead, like going in with a not knowing mind, sort of like those early voyagers when they went, they had no idea, you know, what was next.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so for me, I look at much more of the metaphor. So when we look at the spice trade and what that journey required, it's the same journey required currently, I think, by all fashion designers, by the fashion industry, because we've got a lot happening in climate change. So we have to approach, just like those early traders did, we have to approach the way we're going to do business in a very open voyage mind, capacity to really stand in that fire with all the things that are coming at between climate change, social justice, all of that. And we need to stand with our fashion with a sense of compassion and wisdom. So
Okay.
I look at it much more metaphorically in terms of like in spices in Malawi. I mentioned before, that's not what's happening. I mean, Malawi has been fully colonized, and so much has been wiped out. Probably most of the fabrics they get are from Indonesia right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Another questions for you would be, how do you connect fashion style in Canada and Malawi? It's like two
Okay.
different.
Yeah. So what happens mostly in Africa, people are wearing just pure chitenji, which is like the African fabric. You're not going to be able to sell that in Canada. People, particularly in Vancouver, everybody dresses in black and white.
I see.
So what I have done is I have integrated it in terms of my own design. I've integrated it very much on using specific parts of African fiber to actually to basically use it to embellish different jackets. And I do that on a practice.
Okay.
I do that on a practice way also. So for example, my friend just went downstairs. We're recording a song tomorrow called Mutu Cha. We're doing a video.
Right.
So the jacket, she just went downstairs. The jacket
Downstairs?
is, yeah, the jacket is downstairs. But what it is, so it is the song on the jacket. The Mutu Cha means you're not listening.
Okay.
So she's African, obviously.
Okay.
And people are not listening to
I see.
Black Lives Matter. So the whole jacket is a journey of words and textiles, and even in the interior is a fashion show that I put on years ago that had all the kids recording their dreams. So they're all stitched in the inside of the jacket. All these pieces, like where the kids wrote, where the kids wrote their dreams. I put all of those pieces of fabric or some of them in the jacket. So I integrate pieces.
Right.
And so people are interested in that, particularly snowboarders, hip hop artists. So I work in hip hop. So that's become very trendy where you use certain pieces of the fabric to tell a story of a hip hop song.
Right.
So, but that's just part of my work. Most of my work is actually resourcing and connecting fashion designers and getting more markets for them in Malawi, the women. And
Okay. Hedy, I will get back to you. Now I would like to ask questions for Mas Nuna. Mas Nuna?
Yes, dear.
Yes, we hear just now from Patty how things going on in Africa, and I believe we here in Indonesia we also have a lot of going on. Especially, I know that you work with the SME, the UMKM,
Yes.
that also producing stuff using natural colorant or even other eco-friendly or sustainable fashion product. Yeah, could you share with us?
Yeah,
What's going on?
Thank you. As you would probably know that I'm very active in Indonesian Fashion Chamber, which is the what you call an institution that deal a lot of with SME, government, and academic, and we doing a lot of workshops. We do a lot of field trip to the areas that need to be explore and exploit. You know, educate the society who's doing anything related to fashions or, in this case, design. So we also doing great things about. Oh, I almost forgot. Fashion, Muslim wear. and we try to attach these productions with the local wisdoms, which is embroideries, hand done fabrics, or even hand woven fabrics, and
Does that
we
also
have
include
we,
using spices as colorant as a natural dye?
some of them, well,
Okay.
as I mentioned before, anything relates to leaves as ingredients, I think they're fine. But anything relates to the barks of the wood, or the branches or the twigs, or even the roots of the plants, sometimes it's endanger the species itself. So if you want to produce
The environment is
the natural colors, you have to really plant it. You cannot just like go there and then serve yourself as a
And take
buffet,
it, right.
in the forest, right? So there's also you have
true,
to
very true.
you have to educate the society and the public. And secondly, we never stop to voicing out about sustainable fashions, about how you market your products fairly, so you can produce anything, anywhere, or as much as you wish. But is that what we need right now, or is there time to stop and slowing down a bit? So probably these kind of things that we try to, the association try to not only to make our members bigger, but also how to share this kind of beliefs or this kind of knowledge to the
Lifestyle,
societies.
right?
Yeah, that kind. So if you ask me what I've done, what we've done, we've done a lot. And then we even produce books, we produce virtual fashion shows, exhibitions, and even we groom some of the brands how to do sustainable business. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, the two of us also worked on a book about trend, right?
Right.
Remember?
And we're still doing that. We're still doing it with the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy.
Tourism.
And we're still doing the trend forecasting for 2021, 2022 even. Yeah, you remember.
Okay. Yes, and how do you, if you may have also share with us for the trend forecasting post COVID, after this, like next year, probably, hopefully the vaccine is here and it will somehow accelerate the production or the creativity process after this year. This year is barely do almost. Maybe only a little activities done here. Could you maybe also share with us a sneak peek of the future trends for next year?
Actually before,
or even after that, post-COVID.
Right, before I'm telling you about the Indonesian trend forecasting, I would look back a bit about why we come up with the Indonesian trend forecasting, right? All these times, we all, the fashion hubs in the world, always dictated by the European way of flavors in fashion, way of trend. That we always followed that, and then we finally we are the one who knows our market better than anywhere else. So we try to come up with the concept of making our own trend forecasting. So finally, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy found us, and they started to convene us to work together with them and to publish the Indonesian trend forecasting. Why are we doing that? Like I said before, we have to work together with whatever we produce in Indonesia. But one thing very important, that we have to have a production that should be competitive in an international forum. So we cannot
Right.
produce anything, you know, out of dated. We cannot produce
Yeah.
anything just for the sake of having it, just for the sake of producing it. But we have to produce something that our people now needs. So that's why
Right.
we try to build this Indonesian travel forecasting, and then after we finish each season, then we have to socializing it, you know, in our community, in our designers community,
Right.
and the SME, in this case textile producers. Yes.
Okay. Could you share a little bit of a hint, a piece of the forecasting for post-COVID?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we still gonna have the philosophy of the kind people that always protect nature, and also the destroyer or the greedy ones, and we always have that. And
Okay.
this is only an inspiration. This is not the attitude that we have to follow,
Right.
you know. But that's
Right.
back again,
Right.
you know, to the fashion producers, that which inspiration that they have to follow, or that they want to follow. So we don't have the pressure
Right.
as to say to force them to use certain kind of trend forecasting, but we give four alternatives with different sub inspirations on each category of the trend.
Right. Mas Nuna, I was informed that you are about to fly to
To Jakarta, yeah, I'm in
some
Semarang right now.
place.
I'm in
Oh, you're in
Semarang.
Semarang. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
In that case, probably I have one last question for you.
Sure.
How do you see our current situation now that we are in difficult times because of the pandemic? The production process and the creative process probably is slowing down. Do you think this would be the best time for us, especially in fashion industry, to utilize the local wisdom to see and to
Yeah.
look inward instead of outward, and
Sure.
make this as our capital to create more when we are entering the new normal? And what should we do
I
about it?
Sure. I think what I see before, we didn't have really attention in small things, yeah. But now small things becoming your idea of doing. So say like before we pick fashions shop for fashion products just like that, you know, very quickly and very greedily, and then, you know, even a month after that, you know, you throw away your items, and then you're looking for new ones, or sometimes you buy things and then you don't even wear it. Yeah. And in this pandemic,
Right.
I think you all of us, not only you but all of us, we have the chance to enrich ourselves, educate ourselves to whatever we already have, and we explore that, and then we even utilize that to the max, and try to produce something that more comfortable, and becoming more needy, you know. So we buy things because we need them, not because we just want to brag to everybody that we have extra money to spend. Please save, and the pandemic still very long from now.
Okay.
Yes, Majichi. Yeah.
Mas Nuna, yes.
Yes.
What time is your flight? Do you still have time to hang out with us a little bit,
No, I
or you
think
have to go?
I have to go to the room right now. I'm so sorry, you know, and then let's we start
Okay.
talking and discussing when we get in Jakarta with you, Mrs. Imbachichi.
Right.
Safe journey. In your safe
Thank you,
journey.
Perry. Nice to have you, huh?
So nice
And
Sure.
to see
you have You have
Yeah.
very exotic
Have a safe
sweater,
journey,
Nana.
Mas Nuna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being,
Right.
inviting me.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you.
Okay.
Ciao.
We won't keep you then. Yeah.
Thank you, my Gigi.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'll see you
Safe
soon.
flight. See you in Jakarta.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye,
Yes,
Patty.
yes. See you in
Bye-bye.
Jakarta for sure.
Bye,
It's been
bye,
quite a
Kiki.
while. Yeah, we haven't met each other. Yeah.
Sure. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you so much. We can give a big applause to Mas Nuna. And I have one question for you, Patty. It was from Facebook. As we are now live in Facebook, our Facebook is Perum PFN. Right. The question from Oxtree Purba would be, she would like to ask your opinion on how are we going to develop eco fashion in this current pandemic situation.
Well, I think our prior speaker had a lot to say about that. So when you look at eco fashion, it is really working with what we already have. That's pretty fundamental. And in terms of, when I look at Malawi, they get, they're in a very different situation than Jakarta in Indonesia, because they're basically the poorest country in the world. So when you look at sustainability there, they're using secondhand markets primarily, and then they will be using what they're trying to do now is they have a new government in, and they're trying to actually reestablish their own, looking at utilizing hemp and cotton again to establish their own making, to bring it back home again. Just like you were saying, maybe the African people for the most part are really looking back at the wisdom of what they already have. And so that's another key thing. It's use what we have, and then very much look at bringing it back to our own roots and what we can do so that we don't have to import everything. For me also, when we talk about sustainability, are you there? No.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. I couldn't see you. I thought maybe it had gone. When I talk about sustainability, I think all the fashion industry themselves, they should function. The people, they need to actually, their entire business model should be sustainable. Their work ethic should be sustainable. When we look at sustainability, we're talking about kindness and kindness to the planet. Then we need to make sure that that level of whatever we do in our craft, in our design, in our stitching, in everything, how does that then translate to all of our relationships? That's a very important thing to me. How do we utilize fashion as a practice? So whether we're practicing generosity into the planet, patience in our stitching, discipline in our work, how does that ultimately translate then to our relationships with our children, our family? I think, a lot of people don't look at sustainable fashion in that way, but for me, it's a practice. So those are some of the elements. I hope that helps. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think the answer to all of this, there's a lot of objective realities going back to basics and everything, but then there's subjective and intersubjective. Go back to your culture, go back to the consciousness that you deal with the making, then really be aware of then how does that translate into your entire sustainability in life's relationships.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We have here one more question for you.
Okay.
This relates to your past experience. when you, as you mentioned earlier that you work as a broker,
Mhm.
how does that experience give you the insight on how actually the products, fashion products or other products from Malawi can actually entering the world market?
Yeah. Well, currently they really are not. But in terms of my experience as a natural gas broker, I was in a sustainable, I mentioned I was in a sustainable brokerage business. So with that, I knew all the different elements. I knew the upstream production, I knew the downstream markets, knew the pipelines, the storage facilities. So I understood all the elements of how to move gas and make sure that the upstream producer was getting maximum dollar and the downstream market got the lowest, the lowest price. So when it comes to fashion and when it comes to dealing in Malawi, all of those connections and my capacity to know all of the different sort of productive elements helps in, coordinating efforts where Malawi could potentially expand their market share, or how they would possibly utilize, now that hemp is legal there, how could they farm hemp? So I can look, I guess my brokerage industry translates, because you have to know so many elements in order to do a good deal. That would be the same as in any industry. I can't hear you now.
Sorry, there's been a little problem here. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, but that's that's what I'm saying. As a really good broker, you need to know all the elements to keep all of the parties happy.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So that's my answer to that. You have to know all the elements as a broker.
Right.
In Malawi, I need to know how to even move, right? Because the culture is so different, the language is so different.
Right.
I need to understand all of those elements. Even if I'm in the village, how do I dress? Because it's very different than if I'm in a city. So it really helps, because I'm used to juggling a whole lot of elements to keep everybody happy. If that makes sense for your reader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. And I'm probably very keen to know on how actually what happened in Malawi, or how do actually the women, when you work with a women community in Malawi, react or addressing, or how they actually involving in this community development.
Okay.
As we read a lot about the situation of women in Africa, and particularly Malawi, because you're mentioning earlier that the country is suffering from in the economic sectors because no tourists come to that country.
So your question is pertaining to how do I integrate with the women per se?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all,
and helping them, because the women and children is probably will be the one who take a hit badly from the economy problem.
So the first thing I do is I live with all Malawians. So I've been living there for, well, this will be going on the 6th year if I'd been there now. So I live with all Malawians. I don't live an expat life there. I live with all Malawians. I ride minibuses. I hitchhike. I've lived in the maid's quarters of a Malawian woman's family. I've had a lot of tough things happen, and I stay. So I think the first thing that's really important, I was already back here, before the pandemic hit, so I couldn't get back. But the first thing, I have trust of the women there and of the people. They call me Malawian now because I stay. Like even it has been, I've endured a lot. Like even when I've done helping, if someone is really corrupt, I've been hauled down to jail, had basically 8 machine guns in my back, trying to get bribe money from me. So when you stay, in spite of that, in spite of being robbed several times, you build the trust. They know I'm not leaving. They know that I love them. So number one, that's how I gain the trust. But the most important thing as a broker, so as a broker, I always looked at maximum points of leverage to affect change. I
Right.
do the same in Malawi. So I connect I connect and resource powerful women there, whether they're in fashion and music. So I connect and resource them so that they're seen, and then they will fully lead their own women's movement, because I never feel like someone from North America, I would never know what to do in Africa. Africa has their own culture, but I do know, for example, I brought a designer over from Uganda at one point. He was he was just starting. I brought him over here, put him on a platform, got him speaking at all the universities. He hit it huge. So when he went back to Uganda, he was voted #1 fashion designer. And he is now working with the US Embassy and has probably mentored mostly 30 other women who are all doing well now. In Malawi, I've showcased at least 10 designers around the world. Okay. And so now they have markets. But the most, so then you combine very much the music and the fashion. So right now, I have a young woman who's been here all year with me, who's a hip hop artist, and she shows the fashion, and she's also a huge gender rights movement. So I have to be honest, a white privilege. I was up speaking with Chief Kachinda Moto, female chief, who's won the Hillary Clinton Award for getting over 5,000 kids out of childhood marriage. What I would do there, I bring her up to meet the chief. She recorded the first female hip hop album in conjunction with Chief Kachinda Moto to get the world knowing more about childhood marriage. Then I connect her, and she wears the fashion designs. You see?
Yeah. I see the
So
connection.
So I'm a connector. I'm still a broker. I'm moving things around. I don't get a salary off this, but I
Right.
get the capacity, and I never use the word empower because I find it really insulting. I could never empower anyone. Everybody has their own power. Everybody has their own power. What I do is I'm a really good connector and a really good matcher of resources to things.
Right.
And that's useful. And then the sense, like when I compare it to the spice trade, when they started voyaging, all these voyages, they didn't know where they were going. They didn't know what they would find. So for me, when I'm resourcing and connecting, and I do it with women who already have done a ton of things before I even get there. So they're not coming in looking at me as their savior. I have no time for the white savior complex. We're all on equal footing. I don't consider myself helping. What I consider myself is resourcing and connecting. And then we'll keep doing that. We're connecting the Kenyans now. I'll be going to Sierra Leone. So we get a huge group, primarily women, who are all now, I believe right now, because rape cases and all these, everything is really coming out right now. And I don't say I've played a role in it, but what a tiny little maybe, what's happening now, women are speaking up,
Right.
right? They're really, so is there really an increase in rape right now? I don't know. What I've seen in 6 years, it's always been there. So now I think what's happening, when I look at Malawi in many ways, their women's movement is very similar to what I sort of liken where my mom was in the 1950s.
Okay.
Like,
So with all this, you call yourself as a voyager when you started the whole thing, and that reminds me of a Star Trek vessel, Voyager.
I love Star Trek.
The quadrant, and not knowing anything about the quadrant.
Right.
do you ever feel frustrated or get bored, or I don't know, in facing those challenges
Do you know what I
and
feel like is
not knowing anything?
so? And it's not just the not knowing. I mean, I've had trouble there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. And but I want to tell you though, the people are amazing. You always find the odd bad one someplace, and just because there's so much police corruption, you can get into situations that you wouldn't get to
Right.
here. Do I get frustrated? Do you know what I think what it is? So I love Indonesia, I love India, I love Africa, because I think often the things that occur there, I want to say, there's something about the people, your people. There is this flow of, I don't really like to call it, but there's this openness.
Mm-hmm. The openness.
So there's openness. People aren't so, like here, people are so individuated. So when something tough happens, you really feel it as an individual. You're not in it with anyone else. So when I'm in these other cultures, and I felt it when I was there also, there is this openness that just exists. So even if I get frustrated or scared, it sort of comes in and it goes out.
Right.
And I want to say, when I'm in the West, including myself, I complain more. Oh, I don't have enough sleep. I don't have.
In the West, you complain more.
Oh, yeah. Like to me, my energy is much more in the other cultures because I like to flow and go, okay, what's happening here? We're here. If something tough is happening, you really, it's like there's no joy, the balance, there's very little flow and open street life and laughing, and there's very little of that, right? We all go into our house in these big houses, and there's a different level of suffering in the West, someplace between the West and all these other wonderful cultures. There's got to be someplace in the middle where that agency is strong within community, because just like village life can be very tough because everything depends on, oh, I've got something, I'll share this, but it comes at a cost. And here we're also, Vancouver is known to be a lonely city. It is. It's a beautiful city, but there's so much privilege. So somewhere along the way, when we talk about sustainability, when we have too much, I mean, I'm really lucky. I have all of the money I made, I've already given it all away, including all of my retirement, everything. So I feel freer.
In a way, you feel free, right?
Yeah, like even so, here's an example. After I was arrested up north, I didn't do anything wrong. It was just people trying to get money out of me. This was in Malawi. I went south and they released me, right? Because I wasn't going to break. I have a very strong practice. So I went south. I was very traumatized. And I had left, I'd invested all my money up north, but I knew I shouldn't leave the country. I knew I had to wait until I wasn't so stressed. So I waited about 3 weeks, and then I met this amazing Malawian woman, okay? Now, she was educated. She had a master's degree in marketing out of Scotland, but she had gone back to Malawi. We had chatted, and then I said, listen, I basically am out of money right now. Straight up. It was all up north. It's all gone. She goes, well, I've seen your website. I don't have my website anymore because I don't need to be known too much. And she said, we need you to stay. And she offered, now here, that's why the Malawian woman offered me 8 months free. I stayed for free in the maid's quarters of her house with all the other Malawians, and it was utterly beautiful. So we need to humble ourselves. Like people will look at me and go, I can't believe you ride minibuses. And I said, the money I get, I'm passing it on because I know I'm heading back to Canada and I have a house. I still have my house. Yeah. And I'm okay. So we need all of us to be more sustainable like that. You know, in the West, I'm always encouraging people. There's places where there is no work, and we should actually give half of what we make here to those places, and then we live more communally here.
Yeah.
You know, of course, people look at me and go, "Oh," but you know, fashion and everything else like that needs to be woven into that sensibility. That we have enough, or what we have, how are we going to work with what we have? Maybe we're going to take a sweater apart and we're going to reweave it. Do you know? And it becomes very special. It becomes very special. Like I've seen some of I was looking at one of my weaving magazines. I think it was in India. It takes 6 months for them to make this one specific. And I know in Indonesia, they would have similar things like that. Imagine. And they should cost a lot of money, but imagine we just have a few of those. And we're satisfied.
Okay.
You know, so anyways, that's.
Yeah. That is very interesting. I can see that you are enjoying your role so much as the Voyager.
Well, that's who we all are, you know. We all are that.
It inspires me to follow your step, maybe starting next year.
Well, I want to come. I think my plan is my voyage next year is I want to go to Malawi via Jakarta and India. So I'm going to come because I've met some of you amazing people, and I want to learn more. And I want to learn more. I want to possibly collaborate on some different projects. So,
Right.
but yeah.
Patty, I don't know. I hope you still have a couple of minutes for us.
Yep.
I can see that you work with people in India. I also heard that you also work with Dalai Lama and also work in Africa. So this is a question for a true voyagers like you. Knowing you probably have some information about Indonesia, as Indonesia is also like Africa and India has a very deep root on music, art, fashion, the use of spices. So if you were given the chance to work with community in Indonesia that relates to fashion, community building, and spices, and natural dyes, sustainable fashion, what would you do? The first three strategy or 3 steps that you are going to imply in Indonesia?
Well, the first thing, as always, that I don't know anything.
All right.
Do you understand what I mean by that? It doesn't mean like I have, you know, I've got 2 degrees. I used to move several hundred million a day. I have a Buddhist chaplain related in complexity science. I've had business scholarship out of MIT. I have massive training. And yet, if I enter someplace, I don't know.
I see.
This is the most important thing.
Right.
To do. And then you get to feel it. You have to spend some time with the people. Okay. And then what I look at is if you find people that are just as open, what happens is you can't possibly know ahead of time what you're going to do together. But once you will find something that you will do together. So that's the first thing is you don't know, you meet the right people. This is very important. And the one thing I learned in Africa, and I don't know Indonesia, but when I'm working in Africa, I give people one chance. It sounds brutal, but if they lie or do something else, I don't work with them again. But the ones that I choose to work with, I am so 100% in. Okay. So I can't tell you what specific project,
Right.
but what I know is that you go in not knowing, you connect with the wisdom people, and the people that the most of the people that I've worked with in anywhere in the world is that they don't really need anything from me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They don't need something.
Yeah.
Because then it's an unequal balance. Generally, what we find is something where we become in very clear equanimity, like we're with each other on something, and then you have to decide what is the core intention of that. So when I work with Lady Pace, our core is truth, and we want to resource women. So everything we do, that's the core, and then you commit.
Okay.
They're really what I would say are their character traits.
Right.
I know that sounds very soft, but it's not. It can be incredibly powerful.
Right.
And what I have seen is unbelievable. Like I look at one kid that I brought here, and he resourced 30 communities. Okay? That's just one person who I knew about, who he cared about. His core was helping community. He used fashion as that. Okay?
Okay, understand. Right. Thank you so much. That is very inspiring for me. I know that we don't have much time, but if someone out there wants to ask questions to Patty, and I know that Patty is busy working on music, producing music video, right?
We're doing well. I was sewing 3 jackets earlier. Yeah, 3 jackets.
Okay.
And then we're finished now, and so we're up at 5 in the morning. It's almost midnight here, and then we're out filming the music video in Vancouver tomorrow.
Okay, so I don't want to take more of your time. I think everyone is here already very inspired by our discussion. The first part with Myra, and also with you and Mas Nuna. So then I think we come to the end of the discussion. Thank you so much. Namaste.
No, I don't say
very
that.
much.
But I look and I go, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. I really pray we're all in good health. And in 2021,
likewise.
we'll meet each other directly. So
Yes.
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us also. Bye, Patty.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Namaste. Thank you. Right. Baiklah, itu adalah penghujung dari diskusi kita pada siang hari ini, siang hingga sore bersama Patty dan Taruna Kusmayadi. Kita bertemu lagi di segmen berikutnya. Sampai jumpa.
Terima kasih Mbak Mira atas diskusinya yang sangat menarik. Semoga pengetahuan kita bertambah dengan adanya transfer knowledge dari teman-teman mancanegara.
Bagus banget. Nah, kita akan kembali lagi dengan Spice Up Your Fashion nanti jam 4 sore dengan koleksi yang sangat menarik dari line up desainer Indonesia yang terus mengembangkan rempah-rempah Indonesia sebagai pewarnaan alam pada karya-karya mereka.
Selamat sore Indonesia. Kita ada kembali di jalur rempah Indonesia Spice Up Your Fashion menuju warisan budaya UNESCO. Kerjasama antara Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Direktur Jenderal Kebudayaan dengan Perum PFN. Kita akan sampaikan dulu terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada Indonesia Fashion Chamber, Eco Fashion Indonesia, APPMI, IKTA, Institut Kesenian Jakarta, LaSalle College, dan Komisi Ekonomi Kreatif Banjarmasin. Baiklah, sebelum kita memulai virtual fashion show dengan serangkaian desainer yang akan menampilkan karya-karyanya, kita akan mengawali acara di sore ini dengan mendengarkan sambutan dari Ibu Katarina selaku Inspektur Jenderal dari Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan. Ibu Katarina, kami persilahkan.
Sebagai Inspektur Jenderal Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, saya mengucapkan selamat atas kegiatan Spice Up Your Fashion. Fashion di Indonesia semakin hari semakin berkembang. Di masa pandemi seperti ini, kreativitas dan inovasi menjadi andalan bagi seluruh sektor usaha di dunia global. Pemanfaatan segala sumber daya manusia dan kekayaan alam Indonesia menjadikan modal yang paling berharga. Saya meyakini industri fashion Indonesia dapat membangun energi yang positif dan rasa bahagia, sehingga kita lebih optimis untuk melewati rintangan dalam situasi saat ini. Sukses untuk Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, khususnya Direktorat Jenderal Kebudayaan, yang melahirkan program Jalur Rempah, bekerja sama dengan Perum PFN dalam menyelenggarakan kegiatan Spice Up Your Fashion. Rangkaian menarik mulai workshop, talk show, masterclass sampai virtual fashion presentation dengan mengundang pembicara dalam dan luar negeri. Terima kasih yang tidak terhingga untuk seluruh stakeholder fashion Indonesia, Eco Fashion Indonesia, Indonesia Fashion Chamber, APPMI, Ekonomi Kreatif Provinsi Kalimantan Selatan, LaSalle College, IKJ, desainer, model, artisan, ilmuwan, serta semua pihak yang telah bersatu padu untuk melaraskan rempah Indonesia dengan fashion Indonesia. Thank you for Petty De Santo from Canada, Sylvia Calvo from Barcelona, and Swanina Bhatnagar from India, who are willing to share with Indonesian audience and many more. Enjoy the program.
Halo, salam jumpa kembali bersama kami berdua. Saya Willy Kevin Aditya.
Dan saya Rosemary.
Nah, masih di rangkaian Jalur Rempah Spice Up Your Fashion 2020. Dan seperti biasa jam 4 sore ini adalah waktunya kita untuk menyaksikan atau melihat presentasi menarik dari desainer-desainer Indonesia yang karyanya telah berkolaborasi dengan UKM-UKM seni dan kria dengan pengelolaan rempah yang sangat menarik. Hadirin, inilah Spice Up Your Fashion 2020.
Jasenia Laurinda. Jasenia Laurinda is a newly graduated fashion designer from LaSalle College, Jakarta. She is accompanied with a candid and unbiased mindset. She is presently active in seeking for opportunities to learn more about the fashion industry. In her very own personal view, one should not only possess theoretical knowledge, but also required to have flexibility in their personal skill so as to be able to adapt to the constantly changing world. Yesenia Laurinda. Michelle Valerie Robert. Michelle Valerie Robert is a young fashion designer. Michelle has the characteristics which she loves to play with ruffles but still has a simple design. She loves sewing and always wants to learn something new. Michelle was graduated from Fashion Design Diploma at LaSalle College Jakarta in 2020. Since 2013, Michelle had already contributed in various fashion events. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Valerie Robert. Novia Changa. Novia is a highly motivated and passionate about art and fashion, consistently doing what she needs to do to succeed with total focus and resolve. It's incredibly difficult, but she always do her best. And that's why the ability to work hard and respond positively to failure and adversity is so crucial for her. She believes that resolve, willpower, and determination can help successful people work hard and stick to their long-term goals. Ladies and gentlemen, Novia Changga. Tania Segamausia. Tania Segamausia is a fashion designer originally from Banjarmasin, a small town in South Borneo. Creative, innovative, and graduated in fashion design bachelor from LaSalle College, Jakarta, made her have a lot of primary skills in designing until the production process. She delivers girly to ladylike vibes on women's wear. All of her design, all the way to the production process, are made with lots of love and care for hope a woman who wears the collection will feel fortunate and finds happiness in dressing up. Ladies and gentlemen, Tania Segamosia. Fifi Lori. Fifi is currently a fashion design student at LaSalle College, Jakarta. Fifi already gained some experience from her studies that focus about making apparels, styling, illustration, and clothing line development from experienced teachers at LaSalle College. Although there are still so many things that still are yet to know in the fashion industry, but she is willing to learn more. Fifi is also an easygoing person and easy to adapt. Ladies and gentlemen, Fifi Lori. Anissa Mutiara is a fashion design student at LaSalle College International, Jakarta. She is highly motivated and passionate about art and design. Anissa has a fine art background since she was a kid and able to work with digital media. A perfectionist and a detail-oriented person, yet humble and easygoing. Anissa is also a hard worker and good at the teamwork or individual work. Ladies and gentlemen, Anissa Mutiara.
Luar biasa sekali karya anak bangsa dalam menerjemahkan budaya, seni dan semua unsur keindahan dalam rangkaian koleksi menarik, baik jahitan, cutting maupun warna yang bersumber dari rempah-rempah Indonesia.
Betul banget. Dan pemirsa, selesai sudah rangkaian jalur rempah Spice Up Your Fashion 2020. Dan terima kasih untuk Anda seluruh hadirin dan juga para pemirsa yang telah setia mengikuti acara ini. Akhirnya saya Willy Kevin Daditya.
Dan saya Rosemary.
Pamit mundur dari hadapan Anda, salam cinta dari kami untuk Anda, keluarga, sahabat, dan orang-orang yang dekat di hati Anda. Spice up your fashion. Sampai jumpa.